So, Likia, can you please tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, where you come from, and kind of your background as a teacher?
Sure. My name is Likia Smith. I am a fourth grade ELA teacher this year, first year with fourth grade, first year being departmentalized. So a lot of firsts. I am a Cami hero. I was born in Naples, Italy. I'm a military brat. Both of my parents are retired Navy. So I was born and raised overseas. I started this teaching journey as a TA for a charter school in Wilson, North Carolina. And I was with them for 10 years. And I am now with a charter school in Holly Springs. Have not left North Carolina. Haven't found a reason to yet. But I have two amazing daughters. One is a freshman in high school. The other one is a freshman in college. And not only is she a freshman in college, but she decided to go to a private school out of state. So if you know anybody about to keel over and they have no children and need to leave some money somewhere, holla at your girl, because these children are killing me. But yeah, I've started here at my current school teaching second grade, and then I was the instructional technology specialist last year, while we were hybrid, doing all sorts of weird things. I don't know if you could call what we did hybrid. We did everything. And then I was asked to come back into the classroom because I guess they realized that I'm not very good at technology and decided to put me back in the classroom. No, that's not the case. I'm just joking. I do that when I'm nervous. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Well, I can tell that you're bright and sunshiny and fun. By the way, if we could somehow share with everybody this fairy video of you with your wings on. There's a video of Likia, and she came to class in wings one day, and you have to see that. This woman is dedicated. She is fun. And I think that's a little bit of that perhaps second grade fun, that whimsy that you're bringing to fourth grade when things can get a little real at fourth grade. You know, the skills become a little more intense.
Yes. Yes, they do.
So keep that energy above all. Keep that energy.
I try to, because first of all, I'm teaching ELA, and the content in our curriculum is so heavy. It's vocabulary heavy. It's just heavy. And I can't teach this and not have fun, because it's already boring. So instantly when I'm looking at the teacher guide, I'm like, oh, how are we going to do this? Because none of us are going to survive. None of us are going to make it out of here alive if I have to teach this how it is in this book. So I wish I could show you, but my room is a little bit of a mess. We're doing the Middle Ages right now. We're actually about to finish up when we return.
The Middle Ages in fourth grade? Okay, come on, Beowulf for the kids. Okay. All right.
I mean, it's slightly watered down, but
Marcus said it becomes real in fourth grade.
Yeah, it does. And so I turned the inside of the room into a castle, right? And I have them pitted against each other, the silver knights and the gold knights. So they have to gain, points for their kingdom in order to gain their treasure, and they get to see their treasure pile up. But otherwise, why on earth would they be interested in anything of the medieval period? Like,
All right, I got to dive in now.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. I'm singing the Eureka's Castle theme song in my head. I'm like thinking of Mario saving the princess. Like, for me, my brain is going wild. Wow. Okay. Which fits today perfectly, because today we are talking about checking in on students, because we all know it's that time of year where we shift our focus a little bit more towards understanding where they are and how they're feeling. So my question for you is, how much importance do you place on checking on kids at this point in the year?
I'm constantly checking on my students, or at least that is the practice that I'd like to think that I have. Obviously, I'm human and I'm a teacher, and data, one of those teacher curse words, and fidelity and all of those things come into play with your teacher to-do list, and you forget the small things, like just saying, hey, come sit with me for a few seconds. What's going on? You don't look like yourself today. So I always try to make sure that I'm paying attention to the person and not just the student ID and all of the grades in the grade book. Like when I see you, I want you to know that I see the kid who likes to play soccer and who likes Pokemon trading cards. I want you to know that I saw that goal you made at, your soccer game. And so I tell my kids and I tell my families, listen, dance recitals, plays, birthday parties, if I have the time, I'm coming. So invite me, because I think it makes the difference when you see them in their dynamic, in their arena, right? You see how their parents interact with them, and then you understand the kinds of emails that you're getting from these parents. And then, but then when they see you in the class the next time, that barrier between teacher and student no longer exists, because they feel like if I have a problem, I can come to you now. And that's what I need them to realize is I'm a person too. Yes, I'm not chained to this desk. And I know that you're a person. How can we help you get better? And I need you to be able to come to me in order to do that. And so if I can see you outside of this space where it's teacher student, then maybe you'll realize that, okay, I can come to her. Listen, I don't understand this at all, Miss Smith. Can you please break it down? And we can go from there. But you have to know that I care about you first before you can even have that mindset to that the walls are broken down and you can actually come to me and ask me for help. Even if it's not about school. Like, my mom said something yesterday and I didn't agree with her. What should I do? Ooh, baby, come sit down. come sit down. Let's talk about it.
I don't want anybody to miss the little nugget of information you just dropped, because I struggled with checking in on my kids because I always tried to find moments during the day. I didn't have the mental wherewithal during the day. I should have never even tried that. For me personally, I think what you're doing is smart. You're meeting them on their turf. You're finding opportunities for you to be a part of their experience and their lives, not just in school, but outside of school. That's a pro tip. That's something I wish I would have done a little bit more of, instead of trying to squeeze every check-in in during the school day. Check-ins don't have to happen during the school day, y'all. Thanks, Likia.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
I also like what you said of not just seeing them as a student ID, because you could get caught up in that data. You could get caught up in the IEPs that you have with 10 students, but you don't have it with these other 10, and just realizing they're human. Everyone's human at the end of the day, but you just so happen meet them at this point of their life within those four walls of your classroom. But outside of those four walls, there's still little fourth grade kiddos that are going through fourth grade things. So what are some of your best techniques that you use to check in with your students? I know you said going to the soccer games or ballet recitals, but maybe inside the classroom, what are some of your best techniques?
Oh, I love conferencing. And when I tell my kids that I'm conferencing with them, it doesn't have to be about a test or like a worksheet or anything academic. I'll conference because when you came in and took the chairs down this morning, it seemed like you have an attitude. So let's talk about it. I'm conferencing about anything. And they take conferencing very seriously because that is their time with me. So they do not like to be interrupted. And they know if somebody has a question, they better back up because it's my time with Miss Smith and I don't interrupt your time. So you don't interrupt my time. And they have those conversations with each other. Like, look, this is my time. I'm sorry. You're going to have to wait. I definitely like conferencing with my kids. So there are 5 of us, 5 fourth grade teachers. And so we're all out at the playground at the same time. So I don't stand and watch the kids. I walk the whole perimeter. And sometimes the kids just want to walk with me. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. What's happening? What's going on today? Nothing. You're not enjoying anything at school today? No. Oh, well, why? And it's a great time for us to talk. You know what I mean? So I really just try to find any time. Outside of the schedule
again, Likia dropping the knowledge on us. I need y'all to catch this. It's not just about the conferencing, right? The conferencing is important. You do need to confer with these kids and have, one-on-ones, one-on-twos. But she also pointed something else out, and that it's that she pays attention. You know, like to notice that the kid was quiet and weird when they were unstacking the chairs. And so not only do you need to have the conferences, but you also got to pay attention. For me, I did handshakes every day to every kid before you entered my room. You could tell when a kid not feeling good based upon their handshake. Like you could tell when it's like a limp, kind of like, hey. Yep. I'd be like, mental note, confer with that kid later. Because that noticing is what leads to the conferences. Go ahead, Likia. Is there any other time of day that you can see them or notice these moments? Like I know at the start of class, the start of the day, any other moments where you can see them?
Well, because we're departmentalized, I only have 90 minutes with each block. So outside of them traveling in between classes, coming in the morning, outside at recess, I really don't. So I try to stand outside in the hallway. Even if you're not coming to my class, I can still see you. So I can still pull you. And they know I'll pull you in a heartbeat. I don't care where you're going. So I try to stand out in the hallway, just not only to monitor all 75 students, but just to see what I see. You know, that's how I get information about how the day is going to go with a certain kid. So, and then there are some kids that I've had since second grade. Some of these babies who are in my room now are babies whose year was interrupted during COVID. So I have some repeat offenders who I'm like, hey, get it together. I'm watching you. I know you're going to math, but tuck in that shirt.
I was literally about to ask you, can we pretend that you're calling out me and Chelsea and you already did it? Hey, you, the uniform. And listen, calling somebody out about a uniform is just an excuse to check in, you know? Like
I do it all the time.
Yeah, you're calling out the behavior, but it's also a moment to be like, you doing all right? You good? You okay? All right.
I do this thing where I say, I don't have any hobos in my line. Tuck these uniforms in. And I can tell just by the way you're fixing your uniform if I need to see you later or not.
You see 75 total kids. So it's those little interactions that you have to do because you're seeing that whole grade level.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that when you said departmentalized earlier, but then it just clicked and I'm like, oh, so you're like a middle school teacher. You see the whole grade level. That's a lot of students.
Yeah. It is. And it's not a lot of time to be with them. Like if you were teaching, you know, one class all day, all the subjects, I can gauge whether or not you just didn't have breakfast or woke up on the wrong side of the bed because now you're okay at lunchtime. Earlier you weren't, now you're okay. I only have an hour and a half, so I'm checking in regardless. It doesn't matter.
Have you noticed anything specific that the kids are struggling on at this point in the year? Like, is there something this year that you're finding a lot of students are like, oof.
One thing that we've noticed as a team is their inability to communicate with each other. It's either really aggressive or really passive. And we have to keep bringing ourselves back to the fact that the last normal year, August to June, that they had was first grade for these babies. Second grade, they had to leave early. Third grade was some weird half a day or virtual thing. So their last full year of instruction, academic, social, emotional, all of it was first grade. So a lot of them are still at end of grade, first grade, as far as that development goes. And so we find ourselves saying, do you think that was the best thing to say to your friend? How do you think your friend feels when you called them that? Or like, is there a better way that you could have said that? And like I said, this is my first year teaching fourth grade. So I don't have anything to compare it to. So this is, you know, for me, I'm thinking, okay, is this what fourth grade is? See, I knew there was a reason I didn't want to come here. But again, you know, in talking to the team and even in talking to other teachers, no, they're all struggling with that communication part because they've been at home with mom and dad or baby brother and baby sister. So they don't understand the norms, right? What's acceptable and what's not, because I can say, hey, leave me alone to my little sister. But when I do it in the classroom, it looks like a completely different thing, right?
Yeah.
So that is the big one that we're struggling with, is just how they are with each other.
Good of you paying attention and noticing that like the communication thing is off this year. Like, good of you for noticing, for taking the time to step out of like your own role as a teacher leader and just saying like, as a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking of things like a human. Okay. Looking around. 'Tis the season also for checking in on students academically. You know, report cards and progress reports have started to go out. How do you find the time to check in and have those conferences that are academic as well?
Well, I don't want to say the good thing about COVID and it being us being in our first quarter, but first quarter is typically review, benchmark, diagnostics anyway. And so I try to tell my parents, like, relax, because all we're really doing in fourth quarter is seeing the foundation that we have to build the rest of the year on. This is not an indication of, you know, your students' academic prowess. Like, this is our foundation. This is where we are starting the year. And now I know how to move forward. That is all this is. They can still get into Harvard. They can still, you know, cure cancer. Just give them a second. Let us figure out what our next steps are. First quarter, that's what first quarter is. And so the conversations that I'm having are with parents and not with students, because, you know, we've all had those parents who expect perfection out of everything their child does. And I'm like, but in class, I'm teaching them that they're not perfect, and I need them to make mistakes. And not only do I need them to make mistakes, but I don't want them to erase them, because that's your evidence of growth. So if you're telling them they need to be perfect and I'm telling them to make mistakes, we have a disconnect, because I can't be telling them one thing in the 8 hours that they're in this building and you tell them something else. So most of the conversations I'm having are with the parents and not necessarily the kids. The kids know their data from their diagnostic, and they know why Ms. Smith pulls them for certain subjects and things like that. But most of the academic conversations I'm having are with parents, and for that reason.
I would be the student who you would need to tell that to. I was crazy about my grades. Like, it wasn't good enough for me to make straight A's, girl. I needed the A's to be hundreds. Like, I was one of those kids. And so if only I had a Miss Smith who would be like, Marcus, it's just the start of the school year. Relax. Yeah. We just setting the tone. We just getting ready to have a little fun for the rest of the year. Chill. Yeah. You know, nobody should really be starting the school year at hundreds. Like, it's a new year. I'm just feeling very triggered right now, Likia. Just
come back, baby. It's okay.
Girl, I used to beat myself up about them little grades.
Yeah, you sound like my oldest. She drives me crazy even still to this day. Like, Ma, I got a 98 on that math quiz. Like, math quiz, first of all, not test. So relax.
A quiz.
A 98. Okay. 98, ma'am. Like, okay, Nayana, cut it
out. That's me. Also, in the vein of academics and checking on the kids, do you have a favorite review game? Like, I love asking people, is there a review? I knew it. I knew you had a review game.
It depends on what we're teaching. So right now we're in the medieval period and all the kids are knights. And so they've been jousting with their adverbs and adjectives. They have morphology battles, where it's literally just the SWAT game where you swat the board with something soft. And so I've got toilet brushes that I use for the board. But yeah, it's just how you frame it. Like, every game in here is my favorite because every day is a celebration. So it depends on the content. We're getting ready to go into contemporary literature as our next unit. And I'm already thinking, like, okay, what are the things because I feel like it's my job to make not only the content relevant, but to make it interesting, right? Whoever knew Middle Ages and monks and serfs and
the tea.
Nuns. Catholicism and, Orthodox Christians would be interesting, but it's all about how you frame it. So I just look for those ways to make everything fun. They had, they played basketball in here the other day with adverbs and adjectives, and they had to tell me if the word was an adverb or an adjective, and then they had to use it in a sentence, and that gave their kingdoms a point. And then they got an additional 2 points if they were able to make the basket. And so it was a big deal, and it's supposed to be. So I don't have a favorite. Kind of. You
got a list of them, baby. You might want to publish you a little booklet. Because I was always struggling for a cute, fun way to review with my kids. I was always looking for ideas. So thank you for giving us 3 of them today. If you check out the Cami Facebook page, I have a vocabulary review on there that I made on Cami. Just throwing that out there. Oh, okay. Respect. I'll be getting into that.
I know.
was the Jeopardy girl.
Like,
I was always playing Jeopardy. My kids, I played Jeopardy so much, they was like, Jeopardy again? Like, I wore that out.
You're like, yes, I'm tired, and that's the only idea that I have right now, and we're going to keep doing it every
because
time.
All I had to do was plug in the questions and press play, and doop, 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 doop.
Likia, we've spent some time talking about checking in on kids, but we all know it's super important to check in on teachers and admin and those kinds of people. Yes. Do you have any strategies for checking in on yourself, fellow teachers?
I am a huge proponent of love notes, like little notes. I have a stack of them in my desk, and every now and then, if I haven't seen a particular teacher, especially this year, because I'm upstairs now, which is where the big kids go, and downstairs is where kindergarten and first grade are. And so I don't get to see a lot of my staff anymore. So I might just leave them a note. On the front, it says, don't forget to smile. And on the back, I'll just write something about them that I either miss or that I notice. And I'll leave it in their mailbox, or I'll put it, in their door frame of their classroom. But I love those things because I remember what it felt like when, I got teary-eyed. Hold on. I remember what it felt like when I was recognized out of the blue for whatever reason. And I remember what it did for me when you get bogged down by the day ins and day outs, because teaching is not for the faint at heart. And it is a lot. And so for someone to take a moment out of their teaching day to just say, I see you, I recognize you, I love you, have a good day. That's huge. And it doesn't take anything. It really does not take anything to jot a couple of words down on a note card and slide it on somebody's desk. And so I like to do that for staff, and I like to leave notes for myself. Now, sometimes I might look at these notes and be like, what was you drinking that day? And then other times I'm like, yeah, I got this. So that's one thing that I like to do.
I love it so much. And I love that you write yourself notes also. I should do that. I have a little board next to me, and I should just do it. Because with my old lady brain, I'll probably forget that I wrote it and be like, oh, who left me a note? And then it's like,
wow.
It's myself.
Yay me.
Yeah, exactly. That it pays to have a horrible memory, because things are new all the time. Also, one of the things you mentioned as well is seeing everyone as a human, including yourself. So what kind of advice would you have to new teachers or teachers struggling at the moment?
Oh my gosh, make the mistakes. Make the mistakes and laugh at yourself. Laugh at yourself with your kids, right? Mm. My kids point out to me all the mistakes I make every day. And I'm like, ooh, thank goodness I'm not a robot, because y'all would have to take me back to the shop, right? All right, let's do it. Let's make some more mistakes. But the next time they see it, I can say, hey guys, you see how I learned? You see how I grew? I didn't make that mistake this time. And because that's how I want them to think. Like, okay, I made the mistake. It happens. I'm a person, living, breathing, bleeding. I'm a person. But the next time I'm going to remember that mistake and not make it, or make it better. You know what I mean? So laugh at yourself. It's okay. Make the mistakes. Those are okay too. And keep it moving.
More advice I wish I had my first year teaching. Everything. I was the same student I was as a teacher. Perfection. like literally measuring the decibel level of the noise in my room to try to get it at a certain sound. Like, what's wrong with me? Jeez, I needed a Likia. That's what I needed. Where were you? Where were you?
I am so trying to figure it out to get to this point. Yeah.
Likia, my friend, you've dropped so many nuggets today that we all need in our lives. Is there anything else you want to share with teachers out there before we wrap up?
I said it in, or at least I think I said it in the National Teachers Day, the Happy Teachers Day video, but just be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. No one expects perfection out of us more than we do. And since we are human, that is unattainable. So just relax, be kind to yourself, make the mistakes, and keep it moving. Like, your kids see more than what you're teaching. Mm-hmm. You teach with not just what comes out of your mouth, but how you respond to things, how you respond to them, how you respond to others. So just relax. And that tells them that it's okay for them to make mistakes. And it's okay for them to grow. And we want them to feel like it's okay for them to grow because they're not perfect. They're supposed to be growing. So just relax.
Yes, I'm learning. I'm trying, girl. I'm 35 years old and I'm trying to relax, child.
It's an ongoing process. Like, I have to remind myself too, because I will get bogged down in the data and in all the things that come with teaching. And sometimes be like, why, Jesus, why?
It's such a high pressure job, you know, and all of us, every teacher I know, we all take it really, really seriously. Like, I don't know any lax teachers. I don't know any teachers that are like, I'm gonna just roll in. It's in our nature.
Yeah. But with that, I definitely want us to understand that teaching is a profession that affects the future, right? Teaching is the profession that affects who these kids are as adults, not just what we teach them and what they grow up to be, but the other lessons, you know, how they communicate with each other, how they communicate, how they feel about the world around them and how they respond to it. Our job affects that. So in essence, I am building the future in this room, and that can't be taken lightly, but I also have to show them that it's okay to make mistakes. And I think that's something that's missing in our world in general, is that everybody has to be perfect or they're canceled. And that's not fair, because you are supposed to make mistakes. That's how you learn. And so I have to remember that this calling of ours, this purpose, is to build our future. What is that supposed to look like? And that's what happens in your classrooms. Outside of all the math, reading, writing, and arithmetic, all that stuff, outside of all of that, the future is being built in your classrooms. So take it easy, breathe, make the mistakes, learn with your kids. Thank you for that breath.
I took a breath. I took a breath, baby.
Yeah. And just move forward.
Thank you, thank you. Well,
I
personally want to give you a huge virtual hug and a thank you for being here. Lovely time having you.
I got so excited when I saw that it was you, because I did see the World Teacher video and your smile is so infectious. And I was like, we get to interview her. It's so great.
I didn't appreciate how round I looked in that video. You see, I pulled my hair up so my head looks smaller.
Oh, ooh, you do look good. You do look good.
Thank you, boo. I was like, wait a minute. Now, Tucker didn't tell me I was in this video looking crazy. I'm going to get him. Okay.
Noted. Well, consider this podcast your redemption. Consider this your redemption right here. And from all of us at Cami, we absolutely love you. We appreciate you. We value you. And most importantly, we see you. We see you.
Thank you. Mwah. I love you guys.